The voicemail hit right as I pulled into my driveway. I'd just gotten back from a 3-day conference in Denver. Still had my suitcase in the trunk. Still had that airport grime on me. I saw the missed call from an unknown number, hit play, and that's when my world shifted. Hi, this is Meredith from Willow Creek Senior Living. Just calling to confirm Mr. Howard Foster has been admitted and is settling in well. If you have any questions or want to set up a visitor schedule, feel free to call us back. I froze in the middle of my garage. My phone nearly slipped out of my hand. What the hell was Willow Creek? And what did she mean admitted? My name's Lena Foster. I'm 32 years old and I live in St. Charles, Illinois. My dad and I have always been close. I talk to him every Sunday, without fail. He helped me through every breakup, every failed job interview, every damn thing. And now some stranger was telling me he'd been put in a home? Without so much as a phone call? Quick note, before we go any further, share which city or country you're watching from. I didn't even bother unpacking. I sat on the edge of the couch and called my parents. My mom picked up after 2 rings, like she'd been expecting me. Lena? Hi, you back already? Why the hell did I just get a voicemail from a nursing home about Dad? Silence. Then a sigh. Oh, that. Well, it was time. He's been declining? Since when? You didn't think I should know my dad's health was going downhill? He didn't want to worry you, sweetie. You're busy with work. I work so I can help you guys. Not so I can be left out of life decisions like, I don't matter. Another pause. Then in that fake reasonable voice she uses when she's done with a conversation, she said, It's handled, Lena. He's getting the care he needs. I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back. Then I called my dad's cell. He actually picked up. Hey, kiddo, he said, voice low and scratchy. Dad, what happened? Why didn't you tell me? He mumbled something about, it was just easier this way, and Mom made the arrangements. I felt like I'd been shoved out of my own family. You should have told me. I deserve to know what's going on with you. I didn't want you to worry, he said. I'm fine, Lena. You're not fine, I wanted to yell. But I didn't. I just sat there silent, as my dad avoided telling me anything real. I hung up and stood. Screw this. I was going over there. If nobody wanted to give me the truth, I'd get it myself. I grabbed my keys and headed back out the door. I drove straight to my apartment, didn't even take my shoes off. I grabbed my laptop, sat at the kitchen table, and started typing, how to remove parent from nursing home. The results were a mess. Lawyer ads, government forms, blog posts from angry daughters and exhausted sons. I clicked through everything. Turns out, you can't just walk in and take someone out, even if it's your dad. If there's medical care involved, if someone else has power of attorney, you're screwed unless you prove abuse or neglect. I had none of that. I checked the state laws for Illinois, downloaded a bunch of PDFs, and made a list. I needed his medical records. I needed to know who had legal authority over his care. I needed to figure out if he'd signed anything willingly. And then, while I was halfway through reading about hyper-release forms, a memory slammed into me. Senior year of high school. I'd missed too many days after my first panic attack. My grades tanked. I thought I was done for. It was my dad who marched into the principal's office with me. He didn't yell or get emotional. He just said, we're not quitting, so let's figure it out. He helped me get a 504 plan, found me a therapist, talked me through every breakdown. My mom? She acted like it was a phase and told me to get over it. That's who he is. That's who they stuck in a room full of strangers without even calling me first. I kept going. For hours. I didn't eat. I didn't shower. I didn't care. My apartment was dark, except for the blue glow of the screen and the mess of sticky notes I was throwing on the table. Finally, around midnight, I picked up my phone and called a lawyer. I'd used her once years ago during a contract dispute. Erica Jensen, downtown Chicago. To my surprise, she answered, I'm sorry to bother you this late. This is Lena Foster. I need help with something urgent. She didn't sound annoyed. What's going on? I gave her the quick version, my dad, the nursing home, the documents I hadn't seen. Do you know who has power of attorney? She asked. Number, I think it's my mom, but he was coherent when I talked to him. That means he can revoke it, right? If he's competent, yes, but we'd have to prove that. Nursing homes don't just hand people over, even to family, especially if there's money involved. There was money involved. My dad's pension, his savings, his insurance, he'd done well for himself. I'll come by your office tomorrow, I said. I'm ready to do whatever it takes. Bring anything you've got, she said. We'll make a plan. I hung up and sat back in the chair. I felt wired and dead at the same time. Then I grabbed my work laptop and sent an email to my boss. I told her I needed time off for a family medical emergency and that I'd follow up with HR in the morning. I wasn't asking, I was informing. I was done sitting on the sidelines while my parents made decisions like I was some irrelevant extra. This was going to get ugly. But I wasn't backing down. I closed the laptop, stood up, and started packing a bag. I had no idea what the next few days were going to look like, but I knew one thing. I wasn't letting them bury my dad behind locked doors without a fight. I tossed a clean set of clothes into my overnight bag, zipped it shut, and grabbed my phone. It was time to call them. No more quiet frustration. No more pretending this was just a misunderstanding. I had a plan now, and they were going to hear it. My mother answered like nothing was wrong. Lena, everything okay? I'm getting Dad out of Willow Creek, she laughed. Not a nervous laugh, not surprised. It was the kind of laugh people use when they think you're being dramatic. Oh, Lena, what are you talking about? He's fine where he is. No, he's not. He didn't want to tell me anything because you clearly made all the decisions for him. I talked to a lawyer. I know my options. She scoffed. A lawyer? Come on. You're overreacting. You didn't see him a few weeks ago. He could barely stand. It's for the best. You haven't even visited him since he was admitted, Meredith told me. Her voice got sharper. That's not your business. He's my dad, Mom. That makes it exactly my business. Lena, don't start with the guilt trip. I've done what needed to be done. No, you've done what was convenient for you. There was a long pause. I could hear her shifting the phone, probably deciding if it was worth arguing. I want to talk to Dad, I said. He's resting. Put him on. She huffed but didn't fight. I heard the phone change hands, then silence. Hi, honey, my dad finally said, barely above a whisper. Dad, are you okay? A pause, then, I'm getting by. Place is clean, nurses are all right. That wasn't the question, and he knew it. I'm coming tomorrow. We're going to talk in person. You don't need to do that. Yes, I do. He sighed. It's complicated, Lena. Things moved fast. Because you let Mom push you into it. I didn't fight it. I thought it might make things easier. For everyone. It doesn't make it easier for me, I snapped. You raised me to speak up, to push when something's wrong. Now you're just folding your hands and hoping it all works out? He went quiet. I could picture him, sitting on one of those plastic-covered beds, clutching the phone with both hands, trying not to upset anyone. I'm not mad at you, I said, softer this time. I just want to help. I know, baby girl. I know. That hit me harder than I expected. But he still wasn't asking to leave. He wasn't asking for anything. That hurt even more. I'll see you tomorrow, I said, then hung up before he could say something that'd make me second-guess myself. I sat down on the edge of my bed and stared at the floor for a minute. My hands were shaking, but it wasn't fear. It was rage. At how easily my mom dismissed me, at how quickly my dad gave in, at how none of this felt like it had anything to do with his actual needs. They didn't want my help. Too bad. I wasn't asking for permission. I grabbed the folder I'd started for the case, printouts, notes, legal steps, and shoved it into my bag. Tomorrow morning, I was walking into Willow Creek, and no one was going to ignore me again. I pulled into the parking lot at Willow Creek just after 9 the next morning. The sky was overcast, heavy with that Midwest humidity that made everything feel stuck. I sat there for a minute, engine running, watching the automatic doors slide open and shut like a mouth chewing people up and spitting them out. I got out, grabbed my bag, and walked in. The lobby was bright but not warm. Plastic plants in every corner. That fake lemon disinfectant smell that made my stomach turn. 2 women sat behind the front desk, both typing, neither looking up. I'm here to see Howard Foster, I said. One of them pointed to a clipboard. Sign in, visitor badge is there. No smile, no greeting, just policy. I clipped the badge to my shirt and followed the signs toward the residential wing. Every hallway looked the same. White walls, beige carpet, framed paintings of flowers that hadn't been real in decades. Nurses walked past without making eye contact. One of them laughed at something on her phone. I found his room. He was sitting in a chair by the window, staring out at the parking lot like it was a view worth something. His posture was slouched, hands resting on his knees like he didn't have the energy to hold them up. A nurse was making the bed, barely noticing me when I stepped in. Dad? He turned his head slowly, squinting like he couldn't quite place me. Lena? That cracked something open in me. Yeah, it's me. I walked over and crouched in front of him. You okay? He gave me a weak smile, but there was nothing behind it. Didn't expect to see you so early? I looked around the room. Blank walls, a single dresser, a folded blanket on the foot of the bed. Everything felt temporary, like no one was meant to stay long. This place isn't right for you, I said. You don't belong here. He didn't argue. He didn't say anything. I stood up. I'm talking to whoever's in charge. The administrator's office was 2 doors down, with a frosted glass window and a plaque that read Shelley Grant, Director of Residential Care. I knocked and walked in before she could answer. She stood up, all stiff posture and blazer. Can I help you? I'm Lena Foster, Howard Foster's daughter. I need to review his care plan and discharge paperwork. She blinked, surprised but not thrown off. I see. Do you have power of attorney? Not yet, but I'm working on it. And I have legal counsel. She gestured to a chair. You may want to sit. I'll stand. She opened a drawer and pulled out a slim file. Your father signed a DNR when he was admitted. It's legally binding. I felt my jaw tighten. He didn't tell me anything about that. He's an adult, competent according to our evaluation. He made the choice. I didn't believe that for a second. I looked at the form, his signature shaky but there. My gut twisted. This wasn't just about where he was, it was about what they were preparing for. I met her eyes. I'm taking him home. Today. Her smile was polite but thin. You'll need to go through the proper process. I'm not leaving him here another night. She leaned back. That's not your call. Not yet. It's about to be. I turned and walked out before she could respond. Back to my dad's room, where he sat like he'd been forgotten. Not anymore. I rolled my dad's suitcase into the hallway and left it parked by the nurse's station. He didn't even have much, just a few shirts, pajama pants, slippers, his shaving kit. It felt like packing up a stranger's life. I walked straight back to Shelley Grant's office. She was on the phone but raised one finger like I was a receptionist waiting my turn. I didn't wait. I need the discharge forms, now. She covered the receiver with her hand. Miss Foster, I'm in the middle of something. Not anymore. She let out this tight exhale and hung up. You're not on the power of attorney, she said. Without that, we can't release him. He's still mentally competent. I spoke to him this morning. He's not under any court order. Our assessment deemed him in need of full-time care. He agreed to it. He agreed because he wasn't given any other choice. She stood up slowly, smoothing out her blazer. You're upset. I understand. But all the proper documents were signed, and we followed procedure. If you want to pursue discharge, you'll need medical clearance and legal documentation. That's our policy. Your policy is keeping families in the dark and locking patients into beds they didn't ask for. That's not fair. None of this is fair. So let's talk about what's legal. She didn't flinch. Then go get your lawyer. I already did. I stepped out, phone in hand, already dialing Erica. When she picked up, I said, they're blocking the discharge. I need a statement from you about my rights as his next of kin. All right, she said. Put me on speaker in front of the administrator. I walked right back in and held up the phone. This is Erica Jensen, my attorney, I said. She's got something you need to hear. Shelley sat back down, her face all neutral and polished, like this was just another meeting on her calendar. Erica's voice was sharp. Under Illinois law, if a patient is mentally sound, they can designate anyone to assist with discharge. A nursing home cannot hold someone who hasn't been legally declared incapacitated. If you block this any further, we'll move forward with legal action. Silence. Then Shelley cleared her throat. If your father makes a verbal request to be discharged and signs the paperwork himself, we can proceed. But we'll need to document it thoroughly. Good, I said. Let's get started. It took over an hour. They brought in a nurse practitioner to do a hasty evaluation. My dad answered every question right, even the dumb ones. What year it was, who the president was, his birthday. His voice was weak, but he was clear. When they asked him if he wanted to leave, he said, yes, with my daughter. I almost cried right there, but I didn't. While they printed the forms, I stood near the nurse's station, trying not to explode. That's when I overheard it. 2 nurses chatting near the copy machine, not even whispering. She's making a big deal out of this, but the family's been paying top dollar for his care, one of them said. Private room, round-the-clock meds, you'd think they'd want to keep him here. Yeah, that invoice could cover a new roof, the other laughed. My jaw locked, my fists clenched. It was all about money to them, not health, not dignity. When I walked back into Shelley's office, she handed me the final discharge papers, like she was doing me a favor. We'll need you to sign here acknowledging the risks of early removal. I didn't even read it. I signed. She gave me a practiced smile. I hope your father continues to do well under your care. I leaned forward. Let me be very clear, I said. You don't get to shove my father in a room, bleed him dry, and call it care. If I hear so much as a whisper of pushback after today, my lawyer's filing a formal complaint with the state. She blinked, but didn't respond. I grabbed the folder and walked out without another word. My dad was waiting near the exit in a wheelchair, looking small but alert. I helped him into the car, folded the chair, and slammed the trunk shut. As we pulled away from Willow Creek, I didn't look back. I didn't need to. They weren't getting him back. We were halfway back to my apartment, crawling through traffic on Route 64, when the thought slammed into me. What else did they do behind my back? I glanced over at my dad. He was dozing in the passenger seat, head tilted toward the window, hands folded in his lap. I pulled into a Walgreens parking lot and cut the engine. Then I grabbed my phone and called Erica again. She answered on the second ring. Hey, Lena. Everything okay? Not really. I need to ask you something about my dad's will. There was a beat of silence. Go on. I have this gut feeling, I said, keeping my voice low. My mom, she's been handling all his paperwork for years. She's controlling, manipulative, and honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if she had him change the will without telling me. Erica didn't hesitate. You want me to look into it? Yes, and fast, she paused, then asked, do you know if a new will exists? I don't have proof, but I remember something she said last year, bragging about having a notary come to the house. I thought she meant refinancing or something, but now I'm not so sure. I can check county filings, but if the will was signed privately and not filed, we'll need someone to confirm it exists. Do you think your dad knows about it? I looked over at him again, still sleeping, still trusting. He might have signed something without realizing what it was. I've seen it before, she said. Parents get pressured. It's legal until someone proves undue influence or lack of capacity. My chest tightened. If they rewrote it and cut me out, then it's fraud, and we'll go after them. Do it, I said. Start digging. After we hung up, I sat there for a minute, letting the heat from the windshield bake into my skin. I'd taken him out of that place, but this wasn't just about a facility anymore. It was about everything. His future, his assets, his dignity. They weren't just locking him away. They were erasing him and me. I called my parents, hands on the wheel, engine still off. My mom answered. Lena, she said flatly. No warmth, no curiosity. I know about the will, I said. The notary. You had him sign something, didn't you? Silence. Don't play dumb, Mom. I'm done pretending this is just some miscommunication. You're making this bigger than it needs to be. Did you change it? Your father wanted things simplified, she said, her tone clipped. You're not exactly around much, Lena. We had to plan ahead. I almost threw the phone. He wanted to give everything to you and cut me out? He didn't fight it. That's not the same thing, and you know it. You're being emotional. No, I'm being honest. You manipulated him. You shoved him into that place, took control of everything, and now you're acting like I don't even exist. You don't understand what it's like to carry the weight of... I cut her off. Save it. I'm done listening to excuses. I'm going to get the will. I'm going to prove what you did. And when I do, I'm holding you both accountable. Do what you want, she said, cold as ice. You always do. I ended the call and sat there, gripping the wheel like it might crack in half. She didn't deny it, didn't even try to fake concern. She just laid it out, like this was business, like cutting me out was no big deal. I took a deep breath, shifted into drive, and pulled back onto the road. They wanted a fight. Fine. They were getting one. This wasn't about money anymore. This was about protecting my dad from the people who should have cared about him most. We got home just before noon. I helped Dad inside, got him settled on the couch, gave him some water, and told him to rest. He didn't ask questions. He looked relieved just to be back somewhere that didn't smell like bleach and dying people. I pulled my laptop from my bag and opened everything. Emails, folders, scanned documents, old tax files. I wasn't stopping until I had proof of what they did. The forged will, the DNR, the financial records. If they'd been bold enough to rewrite his future without telling me, I had to assume they left a trail somewhere. And I was right. Tucked in a PDF of a scanned bank statement from March, I saw it. A payment to Harris Mobile Notary, with legal forms plus POA will signing scribbled in the memo line. $2,000 withdrawn from my dad's personal checking. That was the smoking gun. I took screenshots, saved the files to a flash drive, then called Erica again. You were right, I said. There was a new will. I found the notary payment in his bank records. And it looks like they did a new POA too. You have the proof? Yes, copies, payment receipts, everything. Okay, she said, voice calm but firm. We need to confront them, but not alone. I want it at my dad's house, I said. Neutral ground. He deserves to hear everything for himself. Erica agreed. I'll be there. Bring the documents and your dad's original will if you have it. I do, I said, and I want someone else there too. Someone official. Like who? Someone from Adult Protective Services or Elder Care. Anyone who knows what they're looking at. I know someone, she said. Name's Michael Kent, retired social worker, now consults on elder exploitation cases. He'll do it. Set it up. I hung up and kept working. I printed everything. His original will, the DNR from the nursing home, bank statements, a copy of my dad's signature from 5 years ago to show how different it looked now. Then I called the notary. Hi, this is Lena Foster. You did a signing for my father, Howard Foster, back in March. I need to know what documents were involved. Ma'am, I can't disclose client details without authorization. Was the authorization signed by both my parents or just one? He hesitated. That was enough for me. I have an attorney, I said. She'll be in touch. I made a second copy of every single document. I didn't trust anything to chance. That night, I sat with my dad and asked him one simple question. Did you sign a new will this year? He blinked a few times. I remember something with a notary, yeah. Your mom said it was just insurance stuff. Nothing serious. Did you read it? I didn't think I needed to. Dad, they changed everything. You gave them control over everything you own, and I think you didn't even realize it. He looked crushed. I didn't know that, Lena. I swear. It's okay. I've got it handled now. I called Erica again and set the meeting for Saturday at 11 a.m. I wanted it done in daylight, no late-night backdoor crap. She'd be there. So would Michael Kent. I told them both this wasn't a mediation. It was a confrontation. I also called my cousin Teresa, who used to work in estate law and had always been blunt with my parents. She agreed to sit in as a witness. By the time I finished setting it all up, I felt sharper than I had in days. I wasn't scared. I wasn't waiting. They made the mistake of thinking I'd stay quiet. Now, they were going to see exactly who they were dealing with. Saturday morning hit like a storm cloud. I'd barely slept the night before. Too many tabs open in my head. Too many versions of how this could play out. But by 10:30, the house was spotless. The documents were lined up on the kitchen table, and the chairs were set. No more noise. Just focus. Erica showed up first. Pressed blouse, leather briefcase, expression like she'd gone through 5 fights before breakfast and won everyone. She didn't say much, just gave me a nod and started laying out files. 10 minutes later, Michael Kent walked in. Early 60s, graying beard, kind eyes, clipboard under one arm. He introduced himself to my dad, who was sitting quietly in his recliner, and then took his seat like he'd done this 1,000 times. At exactly 11, my parents arrived. My mom walked in first, cautious but composed. My dad, her husband, barely got a glance. My father, my dad, sat straighter when she walked in. Like part of him still wanted her approval. That pissed me off more than I expected. What is this? She asked, her eyes scanning the room. My father, the one sitting next to me, cleared his throat. Lena wanted us all to talk. We've already talked, she said, looking straight at me. You've made your feelings pretty clear. I haven't even started, I said, pointing to the table. Sit down. She hesitated. Then she saw Erica and Michael and realized this wasn't some emotional outburst. This was structured, legal, real. They both sat. Let's start with this, I said, sliding the notary receipt and revised will across the table. You paid for a notary back in March. Had him sign a new will and power of attorney. Didn't tell me. Didn't tell him what he was signing, my mom smirked. He knew. My dad's face went pale. I didn't read it. I trusted you. I looked at him. You trusted the wrong person. My mom scoffed. Don't be dramatic. We needed to simplify things. You're not around. I was working. You never once told me he was slipping. You cut me out, rewrote his future, and dumped him in a facility like he was someone else's problem. Erica jumped in, flipping through the original will. The one you had him sign gives full control to you, plus a clause that excludes Lena entirely. That's a massive red flag. Michael nodded. And the timing matters. He was evaluated for long-term care around the same time. That's not a coincidence. My mom's voice rose. We did what was best. He was confused. He didn't need the stress of legal forms and family drama. That's not your decision, I snapped. You don't get to erase me and call it caregiving? My dad looked like he wanted to disappear. I turned to him. You told me to speak up when something felt wrong, to push back. That's what I'm doing now. You may not have the strength to fight this, but I do. His eyes welled up, but he nodded. I faced them both. I want an apology from both of you. For forging documents, for isolating him, for treating me like I didn't matter. My mom crossed her arms. You're twisting this, Michael cut in. Mrs. Foster, if you want to avoid a full-blown investigation, now's the time to own what happened. She paused, her mouth open like she had more lies chambered, but then she looked around, at the files, the faces, the wall she'd backed herself into. Finally, she exhaled. Fine. I'm sorry. We pushed too fast. I turned to my dad. He didn't look at me. I'm sorry too, sweetheart. I should have told you. I just didn't want to cause trouble. You didn't, I said. She did. It was the closest thing to the truth I was going to get out of either of them. Erica slid the paperwork back into her briefcase. We'll start the process to reverse the power of attorney. Michael will file his report. But we're watching this closely. My mom nodded once. Stiff, hollow. The room stayed quiet as they stood to leave. No hugs, no goodbyes. Just two people finally realizing they didn't hold all the cards anymore. They walked out. And for the first time in years, I was the one in control. The door clicked shut behind them, and the house fell into this weird, loaded silence. I didn't move right away. Just stood there, staring at the empty space they left behind, like I was waiting for something to explode. But nothing did. No yelling, no guilt-tripping phone call, just peace. I turned back toward the living room. Dad was still in the recliner, staring at the floor, shoulders a little higher than they'd been all week. You okay? I asked. He looked up and gave me a tired smile. I didn't know you had that kind of fire in you. You raised me, didn't you? He chuckled, weak but real. I guess I did. I made him lunch, grilled cheese and tomato soup, just like he used to make me when I was sick. He only ate half, but I didn't push it. I helped him shave, got him into clean clothes, and sat with him while he took a nap. He looked more like himself already. The sun dipped low, casting long lines of light across the carpet, and I felt it settle in, what I'd done, what it meant. 4 days ago, I was just coming back from a business trip, half worried about emails and deadlines. Now I'd peeled back the curtain on everything I didn't want to believe about my own family. I'd seen what they were willing to do, how far they'd go to keep control, even if it meant screwing over the man they supposedly loved. But they lost. And I wasn't scared of them anymore. I'd done the one thing they never expected. I fought back. And I won. After dinner, I put on Back to the Future. It was one of Dad's favorites. He could still quote half the damn movie. I sat on the couch next to him with a blanket over both our legs. He didn't say much, but when Marty McFly started tearing up the guitar solo, he smiled and nodded like he still knew every beat. He leaned his head back and whispered, "Thanks for bringing me home." "I'm not done," I said. "There's more to fix." "I know," he said. "But today, you gave me something I didn't think I'd get again." "What's that?" "Freedom." That hit me harder than I expected. We didn't talk after that. We didn't need to. The movie kept playing. The house was quiet, no lawyers, no lies. Just me and my dad, exactly where we were supposed to be. And for the first time in a long damn time, I knew he was safe. And I wasn't letting anyone take that away again.